like I do with the punches and roll me home.
Yeah.
I know. I love that song. Welcome to another episode of Toking with Topher. Oh, episode 12, Scott. We're on episode 12.
We're a week behind, though, right? We missed one last week.
Oh, man. We missed weeks. You know why? Because we got so much other stuff going on. I mean, I will tell you, just a quick insight. You know, me and Scott both do radio every afternoon, drive time, right? You're 2 to 6. I'm 3 to 6, right?
You are the
yesterday,
enemy.
yeah, we are on competing radio stations.
Oh, my God.
The funny thing about this, yesterday I kind of passed like I guess a milestone. I don't know, like a bucket list, I would say. I interviewed Rick Springfield.
I saw that. Yeah,
you know,
cool.
Noah Drake. I mean, Dr. Noah Drake. Really kind of an interesting interview. Great guy. So just a little bit about that. This week we got sitting in with us is Wyatt.
Hi,
he
Wyatt.
is the number one sales guy in the state of Missouri for Gruen Edibles.
I wouldn't say number one.
Well, he is. Okay, guys, look. If you're a sales guy out there and you work for Gruen and you're in Missouri, this guy runs circles around you. Let me tell you that.
Whoa, no.
Yeah,
There's only one other, and he's a great guy.
He's crushing you.
I got a lead for
I'm
you.
not.
I got a lead for you too. I
Bro,
went
you
to
gotta-
a
you gotta-
dispensary yesterday, and they didn't have it. And then they
What's
said,
it
"Oh, we're
called?
supposed to get Terabis."
Oh.
Creve Core.
They're getting it soon.
Yeah, they said they were getting it soon, and I was like, "All right, well, you need to get that stuff. Is this
Yeah.
really good?" Because I had
As
to
a
stop
matter
in
of
it.
fact, they got it yesterday after you left.
I ran out of. Oh, did they really?
Yeah.
I ran
That's why I
out
love
of
my boy.
I ran out of my mint, so I stopped by there to see if they had.
Oh,
any,
really?
And then I had to go to Wild Alchemy today, and then I just bought 2.
Yeah, he said you were in there. I went
Yeah.
by Wild Alchemy. I'll talk about them in a few minutes. I will say this. We wanted to bring Wyatt in this week because we have so much news. A lot is going on in Missouri cannabis. And me and you have been talking about it. We work on a lot of stuff in the
We were
cannabis
kind of
industry.
tiptoeing around it a little bit to find details out.
Yeah,
what was really.
yeah, and I think now we've been able to put together.
And it's not pretty.
It's not pretty. A full package of what's going on. We're going to introduce you to some new terms like inversion, which, you know, to me, I've now learned this term, inversion. I wanted to kind of go over the news that we have in Missouri, kind of educate people, because I did actually get some questions about the product recall. And so we're going to back that up and talk about that. But before that, let's give some shout outs to some folks. First of all, Gruen, you know, I went to an event, a radio event, and I had a lot of the Gruen stuff, and I handed them out. Everybody loved them. I explained to them, guys, this is homogenized. You can bite it in half and know you're getting half of the dose. And that's a big thing in this world. So, shout out to these guys. Of course, my guys, Dolphus with your ABVs. I've been buying the hell out of these packs. I can't get enough. I love.
Is that the 5-packs or 7-packs?
I get the 3-pack and the 5-pack. This is the one I did today. It was a Safite
Is this the dog
sativa.
walkers or no?
Yeah, there's a little dog walkers.
Nice.
You know, so
Oh, half grams. Yeah.
yeah, they're little half grammars. That's a 3-pack, and then they got the I guess this is the 7-pack. So I bought this because I'm like, oh my god, I need the 7-pack, and the only one they had was the indica. And I'm like, I'll take it. You know, and to me, you know, some people are like, I don't want indica to put me to sleep. I smoke anything that won't put me to sleep. I mean, it gets me high. But these were really good. The thing about ABVs,
I got you.
Never mind.
the thing I like about the ABVs and the teals, which I'm going to shout out because it is Teal Tuesday.
This shit is empty.
Yeah, I smoked it. I smoked it
Well,
it right before the show. Look, here's the butt right here.
We may or may not have
It
indulged.
was a
in that.
7-pack. I
You-
smoked them
you
before
were
the
like
show.
an hour.
Don't
You were
worry.
an hour. I got one left in here though. Yeah. So.
Don't worry, we'll burn through a few for this show.
Yeah. You know what? You got to be careful with that because you know the people get really cranky in the internets. Oh, look at that. That's a little dog
Isn't it
walker.
cute.
Yep.
Aw, looks
Yep.
like one of those little snap and pops.
Yeah. It does. It does.
It's got a little tiny
does.
snap and pop.
So-
Man, that's packed really well.
Yeah, so the thing about these is I'm really big on the way they smoke. So Teal ABV, that's both the same brand, right? So it's the Dolphus's brand. They smoke very well, and you know they burn really well, and it's premium flower, and I really dig that. We got some other stuff here too. Clover has a really good one here. I got this one. Very interesting, very high THC content. This was like it was like 30-something%. 33%, and it's called The Biz, right? Where's that one at? Oh, it's right here. It's called The Biz. And so I haven't tried this one yet, but I've been kind of, interested in finding some of these infused ones too. I did an infused one the other day. From Rad is the company. And it was 44%. And honestly, it smoked very well. I mean, some of them really kind of run and do crappy, those infused ones. But they did too good. So that was the other thing. I'm kind of scooting around the infused ones to see how they smoke. And because that's the thing, what does infused mean? Is it sprayed with distillate? It's cannabis distillate and flower is what I get.
Is it keef? Is it extra terpene?
It depends on the company, and they generally will tell you what it is. If they don't tell you what it is, it's more than likely, like you said, a spray.
Yeah.
There's also a chance that they just essentially make it into a vape juice, like a nicotine vape juice almost, where it's super runny, and then infuse that with the weed, let it get hard, and then...
Yeah, so I send you pictures. So I take my cannabis flower and sometimes I'll grind it up, I spread it out, and then I got a spritzer and I have MTC oil, cannabis oil that I spray it with, and then I put that in a cone and let it sit overnight. Maybe 20 hours, 24 hours, and then I smoke it, and it actually smokes very well as an infused, cannabis joint. So.
That's pretty potent.
Yeah, that's
gonna
be crazy.
You think it is?
Oh, I know it is.
I mean, it is. I do get stoned, but I guess it's the same
it's
thing
50
as
milligrams
vaping.
a dropper.
Yeah.
I mean, a 1 mil is 50 milligrams.
Hot damn.
Yeah. So pre-roll today is sponsored by Missouri Wild Alchemy. I went and visited my friend Brandon today. We talked Teal Tuesday. We talked about what they had on the market, and we settled on this 1 gram infused pre-roll. And it is Durban Poison, which is one of my favorites. It's
Keep
clover.
that shit away from
It's
me.
1 gram.
That was the one that I almost fucking freaked out on the show.
Oh boy.
I do.
I was like, I was
Okay.
wow.
Okay. Or we can do this. Let's do the biz. It's a half grammer, and it is only 35%.
You mind if I see that packaging?
Yeah, you can see the packaging, Wyatt. Go ahead and look at the packaging.
What
me
about
take a
what's up
look-see.
with this one?
Which one? I don't know.
dagger?
There's nothing in here.
Oh,
It was
there's
out.
nothing in there.
Yeah, I smoked that
Oh,
one.
that dagger was the good one.
No, you like the dagger?
Yeah, I did like
Well,
the
if I didn't
dagger.
know that, I would have grabbed it.
That's
I didn't
all
know you
right.
like the dagger.
I'm gonna crack this thing open.
Yeah, crack it
live
open.
on
We'll make
camera.
that one what Missouri Wild Alchemy. So I will say this: I've been talking to those guys, and I was talking to Brandon today. We had him on their show, and we talked about terpenes, right? And I said, one thing I'd love to do is like if you could start helping us out, like on the menu, tell us what the terpene profiles are on the strains. I mean, he said, yeah, he'll work on that. And I think that'd be really cool to be able to know, like,
Yeah, what the terpene breakdown is.
yeah. Like when you walk in, like on the menus, where you can just read through it and stuff. So,
Look, maybe even by mood would be nice.
right,
Like the effects of them. Like
Right.
this one's going to be this.
right.
And just drop the name there.
So looking at this one, to me, it looks like it's going to
The
be
Biz.
the biz.
The biz.
It looks like it's going to be infused,
No.
kind of like it's not infused.
No, that's not infused, bro.
Oh, shit. I thought I was
33%?
looking at it like it was infused. Like,
No.
okay, never mind. No, this is just really good, like squishy weed. Then shit, I was like,
Yeah, it's a
damn.
35%er, bro. It's not infused. This is a right.
Yeah.
This one is infused, but we're gonna skip this one because I don't want him getting.
You're right.
Fucking
Okay.
ridiculous. on
Sorry,
Durban Poison.
I got a little sidetracked.
I don't want him
there
getting
with the
clockwork.
infusions.
I don't want him get on all One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
I'll be like, I got to go lay
With some
down for a minute.
infused- Yeah, I, put
I
him in the
actually I watched that
recovery room.
movie for the first time earlier this year.
It's boring as shit.
It really is. The first part is.
I'm
It
already
is
4
boring.
minutes in. For me, that's pretty good.
What is?
4 minutes.
Yeah,
I'm 4
Are
minutes.
you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
He's on those mints like crazy.
Ooh.
I love them.
Yeah, he
Well, there's
microdoses.
been-
Calm down.
We'll talk a little bit more about that too, because like they're sad. They work, man. So I don't get as high when I smoke because I'm saturated. Basically, is how it's explained. So I'm digging
Interesting.
it.
Well-
I like it. It's working.
I tried one of those mints. I'll co-sign that. Those are good.
They're
Those
good.
are good things.
And I got fresh breath.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck, can't beat it.
Oh shit! I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about that aspect.
Works, man.
I will say this: there's a lot of news. We're going to cover it this episode. We're going to have some insider information too. I'm going to start with August 14th, right, which is what the state came out with, the official statement from the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services, which is what regulates the cannabis industry.
DHSS.
Yes, DHSS. I will read to you from what they had said, issued on August 14th. Missouri Division of Cannabis Regulation, DCR, issued a product recall today for manufactured products sold to dispensaries and manufacturers by infused product manufacturer Delta Extractions, LLC. And they provide them the manufacturing license, of course. The DCR may issue a public notice of recall where marijuana product presents a potential threat to health and safety. No adverse reactions for this product have been reported to the DCR at this time. The recalled products were not compliantly tracked in the statewide track and trace system metric, which is what they use.
Correct.
To allow the DCR to verify the products came from marijuana grown in Missouri or that the product passed required testing prior to being sold at dispensaries. So they also say the list of recalled products is located at cannabis.mo.gov. That's the official statement that we're starting with. And this all goes back to what we had mentioned a couple weeks ago about the 200 products being recalled or set on what do you call it?
Administrative hold.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so reading that, my first thought was, I'm looking at it going, okay, why is this a potential threat to health and safety?
Right.
Just hear me out. So I'm like, well, even if they did get it from Oklahoma, it doesn't mean that it's a threat to the health or safety of anyone consuming this product,
Right.
Or that has.
Correct.
Okay, because it's still.
I have insight on this, as a matter of fact.
Sure.
Because, if you look at the list, Gruen is mentioned on that list of on the recalled list. Now, that was because we did work with this very temporarily with this company, and then
This company directly, or the one?
Yeah,
that,
they
this
got
is what
their
it's how I read
So
it.
I'm not entirely sure about that. So but as far as on our side, right, before we ever let product leave our building, we test it to make sure that it is safe for human consumption. So it did go through all the heavy metal testing, all the kind of stuff that's required by the state.
They did mention that they did pass Missouri regulations test.
So that being said, it might be a little harsh for the state to be like, this may be a health hazard, but at the same time, it is unregulated. Like the reason why they're recalled is it comes from unregulated weed that was not, properly transferred through metric, which is a huge system that's used nationally. Almost.
Well, the more I read on, it was talking about the fact that it was hemp-derived D9 and not D8, not, whatever. So hemp-derived D9 is still D9. It's still the D9 molecule. So it's not a synthetic, as they would call the D8.
Right.
But I was also reading that they take CBD and react it to D9.
Correct.
So if they're doing that reaction process, then it is kind of a synthetic hemp-derived D9. If they're not doing that and they're just pulling the D9 that exists in all CBD plants, all cannabis, CBD plants, they could pull that D9, like normal D9 molecule, not unreacted. So they can pull that from it. But you're talking 1-2% sometimes. Sometimes they're as hot as 3 or 4 in a CBD plant. It takes a while to pull that and separate it with a white film.
That's not necessarily the issue with the recalled products, right? So
I do believe that it was because they were buying hemp-derived D9.
They were buying distillate from, whether it was D9 or whatever, from Oklahoma and mixing it, which emphatically is what's called inversion. That's what the term inversion means. I'm taking one product from another thing and I'm mixing it in. So what happened was, I'm a company and I've got distillate and I run it through my testing metric. Okay, this is my product, this is my distillate. They test it all, they account for everything. After the testing, the output of distillate was way more.
Right.
And so that's how they started connecting it to what we had said.
They were able to produce too many products based on what they claimed they processed.
So that's how it all came back to what we had mentioned weeks ago to the Oklahoma distillate manufacturer, that they were able to obtain cheaper distillate for. And we've got so much more to this story. I mean, this is just the first headline that talks about, and I mean, where was our regulation? I mean, great that we could catch it, right? But again, like to your point, it wasn't a health risk. Like these products that these guys have to burn, it's not really bad products.
I wish I could get them at my house.
I wish I could too. I'd be eating them,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I mean, hemp-derived D9, in my experience, is pretty much the same as D9. D8 is not. That's a different high, a different buzz. It's a different, the THCOs, the THCPs, I mean, you come up with, you go to the gas station and read them all.
Yeah, and and on a serious note, do not try those products. Like,
yeah, they're just, you know, and we got mixed up with them for a little while when we first started the CBD line. We were throwing the D8 and some gummies with some hemp-derived D9 that we could sell in like a normal, you know, head shop or anything like that, because we were allowed to sell that based off the Farm Bill. Well, those regulations changed.
Yes.
So we actually stopped prior to even those regulations because of the D8 being so different. Like people getting different high and just they're not liking it, or they don't get high as they want to be, and it's just a different buzz. And
it's such a new territory. That's the problem with it. It's just like, I mean,
we dabbled in it. We got out of it pretty quick based on finding more information.
For everybody, it's a new thing. Like it's such a. I mean, I don't know if it's a new thing, but like it's newly popular, and I wouldn't subscribe to any kind.
Are we
of...
talking about the D8? D9?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got a fucking incredible story about that coming up in our show. And we're going to talk about this Delta 8 too. You know, so I mean, we're going to get so far into this. I can't believe all these news stories that we had just crop up over the last 2 weeks. So I want to go back just to the products for real quick, and kind of walk this timeline through. So that was the 14th that we saw them pull the products. We saw this. I saw an incredible list of, and me and Wyatt and you talked about 62,000 products, right? Were on this fucking list. Not all of them were jaded and pulled, but they had to kind of go through this list and track down everything that went to Delta extraction. So if you remember me and you talking about distillate prices and how it was hard to get, and it was raising, there was only a few companies putting this out. It only made sense for them to go, hey, well, shit, I can get it cheap in Oklahoma, man, and mix this shit. Like,
well, and I think there was a statement in one of these articles too where it starts talking about, you know, the state was aware of the shortage.
Yes,
and they were not prepared for recreational sales to do what it did,
right.
and it caused an issue because, you know, they were out of material and people needed to make products, and you know, products were flying off the shelves and prices spiked. I mean, distillate went from 6 or 7 a liter to 20,
right?
You know, and it's probably even more now because they're still catching up. I don't think that the full cycle has transpired since then. Truly, I guess it has. We're probably getting into it right now.
I mean, I hear this a lot working in the industry, but like, imagine being just at the beginning, the first 6 or 7 months of legalization of alcohol after the prohibition. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where we're at right now in Missouri. So there's going to be a lot of stuff.
I was drunk. I was wasted.
I mean,
I was wasted for the first 6 months after prohibition.
He was a bootlegger.
Exactly. But
he was a waiter on the Titanic.
But, you know, that being said, it's just, you know, there's going to be things that happen like this occasionally, and it just from the legacy. It's almost a legacy industry type thing. You know what I mean? It's like when you have people that are used to doing things not necessarily in line with the law. You know, it's easier to be like, hey, this is just easy.
This is my biggest problem. If it came from Oklahoma, yeah, that's a problem.
That's a problem. You can't go federal lines.
Yeah, you know the law is the state line.
Don't
play those games.
Oh, yeah, no.
Now, if they would just be selling hemp-derived D9 that was grown here in Missouri, it's
different.
I don't think it would be as big of a deal.
Right. Well,
but again,
apparently it will be.
It's not, you know, hemp-derived D9 is considered not D9, but let's be real. If I take it to a testing facility and my CBD plant tests hot at 3% THC, sorry, Delta 9 is Delta 9. That molecule is Delta 9. There's no difference between a hemp D9 molecule and a THC plant D9 molecule. D9 is D9. I mean, that's as far as my understanding of the science.
It sounds like science to me.
I
don't even know the science.
It's a molecule. I mean, your chart that you have on the wall behind us here, it's got the THC molecule, the D9. You know what I'm saying? So that's the molecule. Whether
it does have the D9 on that?
Yeah, down on the left corner.
No shit.
Yeah,
it does.
Yeah.
Right,
So
and I'll take a picture of this fuckers, and so you can see it.
Yeah, that molecule is the same from hemp-derived and THC. From what I've been told on several levels, even
Right.
the testing levels, that it's THC.
Right.
That's why they claim those
And
plants are hot.
here's the thing. I mean, it comes down to I want to make sure that whatever I'm ingesting, because I believe in cannabis as a plant. You know, I mean, I got weirded out with concentrates. I'm like, oh, what are you doing to it to make it that? You know, and even like we talked about making RSO and make solvents with it, but I trust the plant, and I get a little weirded out about this reactive derived. You know, I don't want it too synthesized. I think that kind of scares me as a consumer. You know, and I think education on that kind of stuff is important, you know.
Right. There is a process to take that out of a CBD plant. It's called a white film that would take each different cannabinoid based at different temperatures
Yeah. So
off the plant.
So when we talk about products got pulled, that was the 14th. They called out basically Delta, you know, LLC, saying, hey, guys, this is the problem, right? On the 15th, let's talk about the headlines. State auditor launches inquiry into Missouri marijuana program. The audit is not a routine scheduled review. It is initiated by Auditor Scott Fitzpatrick. And on August 2nd, with a meeting with the officials at the Department of Health and Seasonal Services. So, okay, let's talk about this guy, Missouri Auditor Scott Fitzpatrick. Essentially, this guy... that he pledged last year during his campaign that he would look into the Missouri and oversee the legalization of cannabis. He would cover both medical and recreational. He was not a proponent of the recreational bill that got passed. Okay. He felt like it was basically handing the monopoly, you know, to the big people. Now, I have my own opinions on that. If I was a company and I was able to help form the law, of course I would say, well, yeah, make us first in line for the bill. So I don't doubt the companies involved that got their licenses recreational.
We're part of the building blocks. That
Right. I
created
mean,
the
look,
industry.
man, you know, if you bring a fox into the chicken fucking coop and say, hey, help me plan a great chicken coop, fox will be like, well, you know, hey, man, the best
How
way
about
to
I
do
get one of
this,
these chicks,
yeah, I
Leave
mean,
a hole down
listen,
here.
I mean, so
I'm a little hungry.
that's the state's fault, man. I cannot fault any company for doing that, you know. But it feels like he's kind of got a hard on for the recreational portion of it, you know. And I will say this: I'm glad that the medical people that were already had licenses for medical, I'm glad they got recreational licenses first. I will tell you why. They were experienced in this industry enough to handle the onslaught of people recreationally coming to them to buy cannabis. There would have been, I could imagine if me and you had just opened a dispensary, say, day one recreational, me and you trying to navigate everything that those medical dispensaries had already navigated and was set and ready for the customers to make a cannabis buying experience positive for the consumer recreationally. Right now, it's not a shit show when they go like, holy shit. You know, I mean, I kind of thought that was a good thing for the state, period, you know, to allow that to happen on that, what they call a monopoly, you know.
What I think, I agree as well, but like, especially about, I think medical dispensaries that turned into recreational, it's good because the medical patients didn't go away. That's the thing. They're still here, and they still happen. New medical patients happen all the time,
Right?
And
Yeah,
you know,
and you do get better pricing with a medical card
well,
as opposed to a
regardless-
you
You do.
driver's
I do.
license.
Yeah.
regardless
taxes,
of
yeah.
that, even just like, you know, from a humanitarian standpoint, think of it like, you know, like shit, the people that medically need weed, they should always be prioritized,
Right.
and especially the dispensaries that looked out for them in the beginning, because it wasn't as profitable until now.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah. I mean, you know, he's looking into it really hard. I mean, there's going to be a lot of scrutiny. I mean, this distillate gate that we just went through is going to be,
Split gate.
you know, vape gate. I'm going to call it.
You know, people shouldn't be cheating like that.
No,
And
I'm
if, and
glad.
if something's set in place to keep
Dude,
that from happening
they-
again and causing the debauchery that this has caused,
Right.
I'm all for it.
Right.
And if that's all he's trying to do, then
Yeah.
more power to him.
I will say this.
Keep the playing field leveled. And it is what it is. We're building an industry, and granted, we weren't ready for the recreational, but we're getting there, and it's a new industry.
I agree.
It's
getting
very
better.
young.
I just say that there's a piece of my gut that feels like Fitzpatrick is possibly on a little bit of a witch hunt, and that I hope wisdom, comes his way and says, just look at it logically. We all want regulation, but we want fair and logical regulation. Please don't build in a bunch of stuff that's not going to work.
Right.
Don't do it to do
Don't
it.
overdo it.
Let's just do it to make it work, and not piss, it's not a pissing contest.
Well, they can't keep coming after all the dispensaries and the cultivators and the manufacturers and hitting them with all these extra bills and charges and everything, because no one's going to make any money in the industry. Will not exist.
Correct.
Exactly.
No one's going to do this for free.
And agreed.
Or minimal money.
Agreed. This is a fifth of the Constitution is our cannabis laws. The Missouri Constitution,
Which is already
huge.
overdone.
That's huge. That's a big piece, and to his point, it should be looked at and scrutinized. And I agree with you, Mr. Fitzpatrick. But let's do it logically. Let's work together in a way that's going to be kumbaya, and we can figure it out to make it work for everybody. So the funny thing about that article, that was on the August 15th. Then here we go. August 16th, here's the headline. State pushes back from Missouri marijuana industry over product recall. Company is accused of bringing illegal marijuana product into the Missouri market and obstructing the state's investigation by staging a robbery at its facility. So,
And of course, that is accusation at this point, but
Yes.
man, it's pretty coincidental.
Yeah. So let me back up the article. Let me talk about what the article starts out with. It says, twice this summer, Andrew Mullins, our boy, MOCANN, emailed state marijuana regulators to make sure they knew about a potential problem. Mullins, the president of the Missouri Cannabis Trade Association, feared that licensed Missouri cannabis companies may be tempted to add illegal marijuana products brought in from the other states to their own products in order to keep their production numbers up, a process known as inversion. Okay, so we understand the production is still catching up with demand and wholesale commodities are in short supply, he wrote in a January 30th email.
June 30th
email, thank you, to Amy Moore, director of Missouri's Division of Cannabis Regulation. This is an environment that tends to breed shortcuts and bad actors. We're hopeful it's not the case, but fear it could be. So I think that's very, first of all, I have a lot of respect for MOCANN Trade. I mean, there are a lot of people that are involved with them, and they're really a great organization.
Well, they're doing a great thing for everybody involved, for
You
the
know,
entire industry.
They're a big reson why Missouri's a sought after state right now.
Yeah.
Right. And ironically, this starts, right? The state replies, in a nutshell, thanks for the information, but we can't really do anything for you, right? Unless we have a whistleblower, someone coming forward to really that we can use, we can't really do much. And lo and behold, guess what happened? A whistleblower showed up. Hey, here you go. And a whistleblower showed up. And I think a lot of this started to snowball, but I appreciate the fact that our own industry is policing itself. If they hear this is going on, blah, blah, blah. The only issue that I have is like the state's kind of, this became a big thing, right? So we had to pull products, thousands of dollars of products were pulled.
Millions of dollars.
Of products were pulled from shelves. Recalls and this kind of heavy-handed, weird response when this email to the state, to me, could have been handled. All this could have been handled a little bit differently, I think, than having this weird, shitty vibe put on the industry.
Yeah, I think this type of situation will definitely add a stigma to what the progress we've made to this point.
Yeah,
because now they're like, well, now they're just a bunch of cheating bastards, and we don't. I mean, again, we don't know this whole story. This is an article. There's probably several sides of this. If it's coming from Oklahoma, though, they know they did wrong.
Well,
it's just bullshit.
And it seemed like to me, what I've noticed, I use several sources to get this news articles, and I will be posting them. You'll see pictures and links. But the thing about it is they seem to state comes out with an article, They come out with a statement, then the industry comes out with a statement, and everybody's trying to kind of, tell their side of the story, which is interesting. When you read through this article too, it talks about.
It even says about Delta doing the distillate.
Yeah,
The proper rigorous testing and all that stuff. It is safe.
Yeah.
So I think the comment about it not being safe is not
correct.
Right.
And I think that's one thing that we want to do, dispel. No one. I'm coming out and saying it's not saying it's if you take it you're gonna die. It's not that it's not safe. It's federally illegal to kind of inversion, which is what we described,
right.
And mixing it, which it's not a fair playing field, like every other manufacturer has to produce distillate based on the weed grown in the Missouri. And so does everybody else. If you're pulling it from Oklahoma at, by the gallon, well, you're now cheating everybody, you know? So you're cheating a market. So the funny thing about it is the state says, well, okay, we got it narrowed down. So there's a lot of distributors out there, and we know this with distillate. So as it's kind of figured out, people are like, well, we didn't get the distillate. We got it from Delta. And everybody started pointing their fingers to Delta, right? And obviously, that's how it got called out. Well, the state's like, all right, well, we need to go check out Delta. So this is the best. This is the best part of the story. This is Missouri. I feel like this is an episode of Ozark. Remember the movie Ozark, the show Ozark?
Oh, yeah.
This is what it's shaping out. Robertsville, Missouri is where all this takes place, if that tells you anything. The state coming in, and the day that they're coming in, they call, Delta calls the state and says, hey, do you think we can push it off a day? And the state's like, what do you mean push it off a day? And they're like, yeah, we had a break-in, and the people who broke in stole all of our security, everything for security. So all the
people coming in and out.
Yep, everything security related, all the tapes, all the back tapes are now gone. They came in specific millions of dollars of cannabis packaged and ready to move out, but they walked past all of that to all the security and got everything out. And the state's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Not only did they pass that, but they also passed the check system that they had with all their money stuff. They also passed their drone equipment that they had for fun and didn't want to lose. And then they went right to that security equipment that was worth way less than those other three items and stole all that coincidentally. The day before, they needed to check all that.
Which is what the state needed.
Yeah, that's exactly what they needed in order to implicate somebody in interstate trafficking.
Yeah, and you don't want to implicate the owners of Delta, but at the same time, because they were trying to say it was a disgruntled employee or someone that was.
But there was they only had it,
and it could have been. Very well could have been. So I don't want to personally cast blame on anyone, but this is very shady.
Yeah, definitely don't want to cast blame on anybody. But it's like, dude, it's quite the coincidence. It's quite the coincidence.
If I was a business, and I was trying to protect my business, yes, I would. It's definitely an employee. But if you only have 18 employees, that's short. That list gets pretty short, And I think that's kind of where it's at. I've heard nothing more since then about that. Did they catch anybody? And we're talking about, it's the 22nd now. This article was on the 16th.
So 6 days.
6 days.
Not a peep.
Not a peep so far. So interesting story. We're definitely going to follow it. I'm on the state side. It's, if you catch the bastards, hang them. I mean, listen, before long,
man, everyone needs to be playing by the rules. They're there for a reason, and if you don't know them, hire somebody that does, or someone that's going to focus on that and stay legit, because it's just going to hurt the industry that's already so successful and has so much more room to grow, and be such a great industry and really kind of a trendsetter for other states and states that exist already. I mean, this is a big state for this industry.
For sure.
It's legal now. It's legal now, guys. We don't have to bullshit. We don't have to do the we don't have we don't have to do shady shit.
Well, and I understand the shortage, but don't get greedy.
Dude, it's seriously, it's like, work with what we have. Within the law, because without doing that, why they're not going to let us do any more.
There's large cultivation companies companies that aren't even going at 100% right now in cultivation capacity, so
they're at like 40, 50.
yeah. So
60 at
there's
the most,
there's
I think.
plenty of weed that can be grown. If we keep it here, we can have a market that is like we're at, I think they said we're already at like 750 million right now this year. That's a fucking huge. That means we'll be over the 1 billion that they said we are in a year. By the end of the year, we should be at like 1.1, maybe 1.2 by the end of the year, 1.3 maybe. That's a fucking huge industry. So if we regulate ourselves and do exactly what MOCANN's doing, which I'm a big proponent of what Andrew said, hey, we're trying to tell you, we'll give you all the information we can because we want to protect our industry. And I loved it. I thought that was good. So pretty
That's what
soon
needs to be done.
manufacturing license number 22 might be upon the block for, when they lose it, because I think I'm a big proponent
you
of that.
wonder how far they'll go with the punishment on something like this. because-
Everybody's watching.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to be made example of.
100%, and
Unfortunately.
it's going to set a precedent for what's going to happen if you fuck around and find out later on.
Yeah.
No, I
Yep.
agree 100% with that.
Yep. So brings me to another topic, and we've been hitting on this, the Delta 8 THC. I wanted to kind of talk about this too, because people might have heard of what Delta 8 is. I know this article came out on August 16th. It is Delta 8 THC derived from CBD is illegal, according to the DEA email, which obviously federal government, but let's talk about that. Recently revealed letter confirms that the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration considers Delta 8 THC that has been synthesized from hemp-derived CBD, the vast majority of consumer Delta 8 products, to be federally illegal. There is, if you go on a lot of websites, some of you cannabis smokers probably get hit with ads like on Facebook or Instagram or wherever that says, hey, order this order weed from us, right? And they offer concentrates. I mean, they offer a lot of different shit like you would buy in a dispensary, and they kind of promote it like it's THC, like you're buying THC, and it's cheaper, or it's, but it is the Delta 8, right? And I guess from what I'm getting in this article is that the tide is changing on the Delta 8, and they're coming down on it. And, basically the Agricultural Improvement Act in 2018, the Farm Bill, right, really made people able to grow these products, grow the CBD.
Yeah.
And
the Delta 8 is a reaction. I mean, you have to use a reactor to have that process.
what does that mean? What does that use a reactor? I don't know.
It's a piece of equipment that you basically take that CBD oil or whatever, put it in the reactor to make that CBD react into the next stage of the plant. Which
Right,
would be,
it'll
and it's a
chemically-
Delta 8.
When you say reactors, are like a comedian trying to make them laugh,
It's
or
like,
you
no.
read react to me, dude?
No, it's like a flux capacitor.
Oh,
Right,
shit.
we're talking
Okay.
about-
science
Yeah,
shit.
like-
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're getting sci-fi.
Yeah, but so I have done products that have been infused with Delta 8, pre-rolls and stuff. To me, my reaction to it is it's always put me to sleep. I'm like, well, I'm just tired. It's not really. I know it's
And
a
it
little
had
bit
the
different.
total Well, I did end up going to sleep, but man, I took one hit off a D8 pen.
Yeah.
And I hadn't. This was like right after COVID, and I didn't. Man, I was high.
No
Interesting. I've only had Delta 8. I've only had it in a bud that was just high percentage Delta 8 somehow.
They sprayed it.
Probably it was from some
Yeah, it
hick
was
town in
CBD
Oklahoma.
yeah.
See, I used to live in Oklahoma, so
They just sprayed it with D8.
You guys try to get it high on anything,
dude, it was.
And that bud looks nasty. Was it all brown?
It was actually really pretty looking bud. However, it smelled real funky, and it was really bad smoke. It smoked really poorly. I only bought a gram of it just
God.
because I wanted. I was just intrigued. But yeah, they were selling it in the front counter, and that's what should have tipped me off. I wasn't in the dispensary yet.
Right,
It was right there.
That's funny. So, looks like there's probably going to be some more regulations coming around with the Delta 8
Great.
products, which You know,
I imagine
mean,
it's going to be flying off the
I just want
gas station shelves pretty quick.
Yeah. Go stock up if you're a big proponent of that. I don't recommend it.
I will say this: I lived in a day and age where ecstasy was legal when I was younger, and you could buy it in
Interesting.
adult like bookstores. Like walk in and buy MDMA from the fucking bookstore.
No shit.
And when it went illegal, I'm like, oh man, I wish I would have fucking loaded up, you know. So this could be one of those things for you guys if you like Delta 8 and you want to like. Remember, what was it that weed that people started salvia? Remember
Yeah, K2 or whatever.
Yeah, fuck that shit.
oh,
my
man.
god, the worst fucking decision anybody
K2,
can make.
Jesus, I
Holy
forgot
shit!
That didn't last very long. I was like,
It lasted into my smoking years because I got some accidentally at one point, and I immediately realized just like I think it tastes like pepper or some shit. There's some telltale way to know that it's
No shit.
fucking K2, and we tasted it, and it was like, oh shit, this is that. Yeah, it was
Not
it was a
good.
fucked up night. We thought someone was breaking into their neighbor's house. It was
Yeah,
like
man, could you imagine you live in a
there's a
day and
flag.
age where you could get bad weed? Like, oh, I got sold some bad weed, you know? Like oh, it's
Oregano.
K2 or, you know.
or have you heard about like those vitamin E carts, like where
Yeah.
street dealers or whatever, they'll just dump the shit out of a cart and then put vitamin E extract, and then it's like that's just
Why would they dump this shit out of the cart?
because it's cheap, or not even dump it out. They would just get the empty ones, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been smoking.
Why
I
would
don't remember.
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Well,
People always trying to
okay.
move things around. God, I keep yawning, man.
Oh, shit,
Somebody
bro. Wake
smack
up.
me.
Yeah, let's get that. Hey, let's
Okay.
burn that Delta 8, the Durban poison.
Oh, he'll fucking die if I like this.
It's
I'm
a
done.
sativa though. Come on.
It is a Steve. Okay, I do have another crazy story for you. And now I've kind of getting educated on this because I read a couple stories. Missouri cannabis regulators target lab shopping in new rules. So this came out.
I'm kind of actually a proponent of this.
This is August 21st. This came out. So apparently, in states like California and Colorado, as weed came out and people went, I want the high potency shit. You know, these companies would go and try to, bribe or shop the places that would give the higher THC count. So if you're a shop that does testing, of course, if you're going to get all the business because you're shooting everybody high, that's good for you. So to combat that, out in the West, they come up with a system called interlaboratory testing. Okay. And so a follow-up to the story that I just read you was the new Missouri cannabis rules require testing labs to double-check each other's work. So new rule that is now in place to say, so what this means is interlaboratory testing means I'm laboratory A and you're laboratory B, and we're 10 times a year. This is mandatory. 10 times a year, we get to come to you and you get to swap testing. So I'm gonna test your stuff. You're gonna test my stuff, and then they're gonna look at those results to make sure that the labs are not gouging the testing results for the people who are getting them tested. Which, I mean, I could see how this would be a big deal. You know, I mean, saying like, oh, fuck yeah. I mean, everything's is subject to be tainted.
The experience we've had with testing labs, each one has given us a different result, varied by anywhere between 3 and 5%.
Right.
So
It comes down to
obviously there's
equipment.
equipment. There's different processes to get those numbers. And one of the things that we learned when we started dabbling with the D8, that they didn't really have a proper way of even testing D8 in the state of Missouri. So we had to send that to an out-of-state lab,
Right.
which at this point now would be completely illegal.
Yeah, now they'd have to, if you want to do Delta 8, you got to make it here in Missouri.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, what's the point?
There's
Right,
no point.
right.
If you can go
We
to the
have-
recreational dispensary.
Yeah, we got
the
D9.
only market they have for that is people that are 18 to 21 that can walk into a cannabis dispensary.
I think you got to be 21 to buy the D8, don't you?
No,
No,
it's 18.
no,
it's
no.
18.
And they sell it, you know, in Vegas. I mean, everywhere that like a lot of like Vegas. Vegas is huge on this shit. So if you walk to Vegas and you try to get some weed, you can go to like legit dispensaries. 24 hours a day they're open. But if you go like, say you're walking on the Strip or Old Town, they'll have shops and they'll have all these weed fucking pot leaves on the front of their building and get some weed here, and you'll go in there and it'll look like regular pre-rolls rolled in keef and bullshit, but it's
Way
all like CBD fucking Delta 8 fake ass weed, and you're like, holy shit. I mean, you realize this is like a whole fakery of THC.
Fake Haiti.
Yeah, it's like fake Haiti.
They have those right here in Missouri too.
Oh,
If
it's
you drive,
fucking nuts.
especially if you go to municipalities here that don't have dispensaries,
Yeah.
that you can find them there
the
still.
fakest ass shit.
Oh
bro.
yeah, it's like, oh, this is our weed CBD that is
That is sprayed with D8 distillate.
Yeah, right, exactly. To juice it up or make it, it's
To give you a
fucking
little bit
nuts.
of a buzz, and it's crap weed. It's all brown. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah, it's like
dead.
$8 a pre-roll,
Oh, it's
bro.
terrible.
a
It's
deal.
so cheap,
It's
dude. It's keef rolled too, infused.
Yeah, CBD keef rolled would be amazing. I mean,
You'd be better off just
there-
smoking a CBD joint, to be honest
I
with
forget which dispensary it is,
just
but
take a Tylenol.
there's a dispensary here in Missouri that's across the street from one of those, and they had their big sign out front is a CBD pre-roll covered in keef, just as you just described. Literally, that exists. And
No
it's
shit.
$15 a gram.
And there's not a lot of research on D8 itself. Like,
No.
there's no medical benefit to D8
No.
that we
No.
know, like
of
that
yet.
you know of, like from D9
No.
or CBD
No.
or CBG or CBN.
Right.
Like, just let's stick to the components. I mean,
Yeah, there's no need to scientist this shit. Like, we can't play God here, guys.
Yeah.
Like,
Can
I
for real.
Can I roll it and smoke it and get high? That's it. That's what I want out of my weed. All this other shit, if you're gonna start making distillates, if you're gonna start making all these other things, regulate it. Let's fucking regulate it. But at the end of the day, I want it to be natural, or I want to know. Like, don't give me fucking some fake ass weed on my infused pre-roll unless you tell me, hey, this is fake ass shit on your pre-roll. Which I've seen that too in the infused, with
Yep.
the Delta 8 infused. They'll be like, we sprayed it with Delta 8. Well, okay, I want to know that. Or is it cannabis distillate?
Yeah, it's this THC 9. Like,
Right.
I hate that we have to say THC 9 now. Come on, let's like.
Really?
And I honestly believe that hemp-derived D9 is exactly the same as D9. I don't see how it's any other way.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about it. I'm like, well, fuck. I mean,
Scientifically, I don't see how they're any different.
what happened to the rolling tray that I had that I could just roll a weed joint, smoke it
Take the seeds out.
with my friends?
There's a brick,
just
Yep.
get high with my buddies. Now we're squabbling over some distillate and deltas.
Did I ever tell you the story when we were kids? And one of the neighbors was growing a plant behind his chimney.
Yeah.
We climbed up there and stole it, and there was no buds on it. We go back and try to bake the leaves.
Oh.
It was so bad.
Did you smoke it?
Oh, we tried. Yeah.
Did you? It tastes like shit. It's
Oh,
green as
it
fuck.
I didn't
yeah.
even smoke out of it because we dried it in the oven for
Oh,
like 20
man.
minutes or
Yeah,
so. You
yeah.
know what I mean? Like, it was just dumb.
So
Funny nonetheless.
When I turned 18, not to implicate my dad or anything, but for my 18th birthday, he gave me like an ounce of this Oregon weed, right? That one of our neighbors had got, and like he didn't know, he knew that I smoked weed, but didn't tell me. He knew, like, I thought I was being all cool and hiding it and shit. Well, anyways, so my best friend and I at the time, we took that weed and half of it, and we were like, we're gonna make fucking weed tea. And so without any real, or he said he'd done it once and it was delicious, so we did it and we made fucking bong water, dude. Like, it was
I'm
like
sure
we
it's
literally just
green and gross.
oh, it wasn't even green, it was like muddy, like clear, like, oh, it was horrible. And we just poured it these 2 giant glasses because the problem was we put way too much water. It was like 2 liters of it is way too much water for this shit. And oh my god, yeah,
That's funny.
Worst tasting shit ever.
Well,
I don't know what brought that up.
I
but
know
shit.
one thing. I know we were talking about earlier about our harvest this year and how much weed we've got a lot of plants that we're going, and how we're going to be able to do a Toking with Topher episode where we teach people how to do the butter. And I got a machine, it's a magic butter machine. We're going to walk through making butter. We'll do it in the kitchen. Get the kitchen out and like get our aprons. We'll get aprons on.
Yeah, you can do those Levos too. Are really good.
Yeah.
Do the flour. You can do distillate too, but the Levos and we could even show about a magnetic spinner. You can buy it for $80 on Amazon.
Yeah.
With a beaker.
We might have to see who comes up with the best cookie recipe for
Yeah,
their,
we could do that too.
cannabis infused cookies.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Between
basically,
Topher
we
and
don't know to walk
Scotty?
you through making some of that stuff. I think that'd be fun to do.
Oh, hell yeah.
Good project. Actually, it's like a good fall winter project because people like don't have shit to do. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna make some butter.
Yeah. If you're thinking, I'm gonna shamelessly plug here real quick. With Groon's coming out, we're coming out with some chocolate right now. If you're wanting to, you're thinking, summer, we don't do chocolate.
Tease us, but it never comes out of Missouri, bro.
No, it's out right now. It's out right now.
Where
it is out right
Where
now.
can I get it?
You can get it at Kind Goods.
Kind
You can
Goods.
get it at Kind Goods.
Okay.
There's a few places taking it on right now. 315 Primo. There's one of those in St. Louis.
Is
There's
it
one in Valley
what
Park.
is it? What is it? It's the
We have the 3-to-1 10-pack, and that's
Okay.
going to be a milk chocolate. And then we have a 1-to-1-to-1 dark chocolate. And the 3-to-1 milk chocolate, that's CBG to THC, 30 milligrams per piece of CBG and 10 milligrams of THC.
okay.
The 1-to-1-to-1 is CBD, CBN, and THC.
Wow.
That's a dark chocolate, nighttime sleepy. Excellent products. But if you're thinking, it's summertime, I don't eat chocolate. Well, what do you do at the lake? You eat s'mores. Let's make chocolate s'more, or not
Stop,
just
bro.
s'mores with Groon stuff.
Stop trying to sell people chocolates in the summertime,
Dude, no.
I'm gonna shoot you down on this because the fall time is gonna be the best time for your chocolate sales. I know you're trying to reach the audience right now in the
Groon
summertime,
s'mores.
but that shit melts. I can't fucking take chocolate shit nowhere unless it's in my fucking cooler, where my goddamn kids might eat the goddamn thing if I had kids.
Well,
This is
are
hard
they
to
going to
sell.
drink the beers in that same cooler?
They might.
So
They
see,
fucking might. You know what?
like you might as
They
well
might.
just put that in there too.
No, so chocolates. I did hear a good rumor that the 100 milligrammers are coming.
Yes, they are later on this month.
The Andy size mints. It's not a mint. It's a chocolate.
It's
milk
a chocolate. There's milk chocolate and dark chocolate.
100 milligrams, and it's literally like this big.
If you're wanting a fucked up s'more, that's what you want.
Yeah,
right
it's
there.
not really a fucked up s'more. I mean, don't-
Fucked up.
we want to keep the calorie count down at our age.
Have a small. It's a one chunk of a Hershey's.
Yeah, a corner of a granola, a half of a marshmallow, mini marshmallow, and a whole 100 milligram
Mini marshmallow.
Gruen.
A gram, like those graham cracker
Yeah,
cereals
those
with
small-
the
Yeah,
little
You get a
cube.
Cheerio. And
Yeah.
You can do the cinnamon toast crunch squares.
Yeah.
With the mini and that chocolate bar. Ooh.
Yeah, I do love Gruen, guys. That's my edible go-to. I mean, as many edibles is out on the market now. I mean, which there's a ton. This market is saturated. I mean, we get them all the time. I mean, my favorite is Gruen. I like being able to. They've got a great flavor. They're doing a lot of good ratios. When we talk about CBG, CBD, THC ratios, those 1-to-1-to-1s, those 3-to-1s that I have here. This is cool, man. I mean, for people who do this, do cannabis and know a lot about cannabis, have a good high tolerance, getting into the ratios and understanding these, and these are the guys that are doing it. So, Gruen Edibles. Another shout out to Missouri Wild Alchemy. Thank you for the hookups, guys. ABV, Teal Tuesday, Clover. Thank you for joining us today. Wyatt from Gruen. Scotty Gertken, of course.
Thank you, sir.
We did another show.
I think we could have got more in depth and got even a little bit more ignorant with some of this stuff going on right now, guys. Clean it up. Don't fuck
Clean
up
it
an
up.
industry.
Yeah.
Don't fuck up an industry,
Oh,
man.
shit.
It's too good.
Yeah, some
It's
of us.
too good.
we're having fun here, man. Like, let's not ruin the fun.
Yeah,
Like,
for
seriously,
sure.
look at what Missouri's doing. We have all these events we can do. There's essentially open smoking.
Open.
I mean, it's just like we have it so good here compared to a lot of states. There's no reason to bring in bullshit and just
Right.
Yeah, we don't need any more stigma on it.
No, we don't.
We're already
Right.
trying to beat that out of it. So
I mean, we're the future here, and
Right.
like this state, we gotta just be the best.
And honestly, I'll say some of the brands that were caught up in this, some of the brands that were caught up in this, I would say to the people out there, don't doubt the brand on it. It wasn't the brand, it was the manufacturer, and it's the one manufacturer that they're looking at. So don't doubt the brand. The brand was doing what everybody else does in the state. They're
Right.
buying distillate from a supposed good, reputable manufacturer, right?
I would really like to talk to somebody in one of the labs in Missouri and really discuss the hemp derived D9 versus D9.
Yeah.
And because I
we
would
should do that
really,
for an
I
episode.
would really like to
Yeah,
know.
I would like that
on
episode.
a scientific level, because from
Right.
what I've understood and talked to people, it's the same molecule.
Right. Right.
So there's no danger in it. It's
Right.
just it was illegal to get it the way they got it.
Right.
And
Agreed.
and
Cheating the industry.
You can't hold it against anybody that put a product like that. And when they do they do testing before they sell it, and then you test it when you get it with your products. And if it passes all that stuff for human consumption,
Right.
man, it's just kind of a stigma we don't need.
Yeah. So that's our show for today, guys. If you have questions, stoner at tokingwithtopher.com.
the stoner.
Obviously, you can email us there. Show ideas. You want to be a guest. You got something to talk about. Give us a shout out. Stoner at tokingwithtopher.com. Like, share, and comment on everything that we do would be very helpful to us. It kind of gives us a boost in the ratings. So
Hey, I get to harvest my indoor Friday.
I know we got some weed coming at you guys. It's going to be incredible. This is going to be filled with weed soon. You're going to love it. So
I love it.
that's right. We're out.
Baby, make like I do with the punches and roll me home.